War between the US and China will be disastrous. Things will get even worse if the US avoids doing this one essential move. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Real quick, some big news. After a lot of hard work, we have officially launched our new premium website over at ChinaUncensored.tv. YouTube has been censoring our content for more than 7 years, and we can't stop them. But now we have a way to provide you with truly uncensorable videos. This new website has exclusive episodes that we won't be uploading to YouTube or anywhere else. It's only for our subscribers, and when you subscribe, not only will you get extra premium episodes on a regular basis, you'll also be supporting our continued efforts to expose the CCP on YouTube and elsewhere. Yes, we will continue to publish videos here on this YouTube channel, and we won't be removing anything. But when you become a paying subscriber at ChinaUncensored.tv, you'll get lots of cool benefits you won't get anywhere else, like premium videos, exclusive live streams, a way to chat directly with me and the team, and more. The link is below. With your help, we can keep China uncensored. And now on with the show. So as we're seeing with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, 21st century warfare is utterly devastating and resource intensive. But a war between the US and China over Taiwan could be even worse, and the US is not prepared. Last year, the Center for Strategic and International Studies ran a war game for a Chinese invasion of Taiwan taking place in 2026. Although the US, Taiwan, and Japan defeated China in most scenarios, CSIS found that the US lost 10 to 20 warships, 2 aircraft carriers, 200 to 400 warplanes, and around 3,000 plus troops were killed in 3 weeks of fighting. Things haven't gotten better since. Last week, members of the House Select Committee on the CCP participated in another CSIS war game simulation. And like the 2023 war game, the latest simulations painted a very bleak picture. Quick question, this is the 21st century. Why does a war game simulation involving United States Congresspeople look like the world's most serious tabletop RPG? Anyway, in this simulation, the US and Taiwan ran low on critical munitions in a matter of days. The US also lost 2 aircraft carriers, 15 large surface combatants, 3 attack submarines, and 2 amphibious ships, as well as between 250 to 555 4th and 5th generation fighter aircraft, and up to 30 B-21 bombers. The US either needs to stock up or get better at rolling natural 20s. The simulation indicated that the US defense industrial base is woefully ill-equipped to support US military requirements in the event of war with China. At its current production capacity, the US defense industrial base would effectively not be able to replace these losses. It would take roughly 2 years to produce key munitions like javelins, tomahawks, and others. It could also take anywhere from 1.5 years to 12 years to replace aircraft. 1.5 years to 12 years. I thought my Wi-Fi provider was bad at predicting time frames for showing up. Things are even worse for ships. It would take at least 2 years to replace large amphibious ships, 7.5 years for attack submarines, 15 years for large surface combatants, and 40 years for aircraft carriers. 40 years! That means that someone could be born when the project was started, and by the time it's finished, not understand modern music and feel like pop culture is leaving them behind. Yes, I'm 40. Why do you ask? This is thanks in no small part to the US manufacturing base hollowing out since the end of the Cold War. Now, the US was in a similar situation at the beginning of World War II, but after Pearl Harbor, production times turned around on a dime. So it's possible the US could turn things around now too, but the US has bigger problems. The CSIS warns that the US defense industry is severely handicapped by limited US production of solid rocket motors, process assemblies, castings, ball bearings, forgings, seekers for munitions, and microelectronics. The US is also extremely reliant on China for advanced battery components and certain raw materials. This includes materials like antimony, which is needed for ammo, communications equipment, night vision goggles, explosive optics, laser sighting, you name it. Yes, the US still depends on China as well as Russia for its ammo supply chain. Nothing gets you more prepared for war than being beholden to the folks you may go to war with. Excuse me, can we have some bullets to kill you with? Thanks. So US manufacturing is lacking. So is US manpower. The US needs way more engineers, electricians, shipfitters, metal workers to support the military in the Indo-Pacific. But hey, at least we have millions of aspiring influencers, so at least we'll have great content when the hells of war ravage us all. One proposed solution to that is to use robot ships to replace sailors. I'm sure that's very realistic and wouldn't have any downsides. The issue is the US defense industry acts like we're in peacetime. Meanwhile, China's defense industrial base is on a wartime footing. Its shipbuilding capacity alone is over 230 times greater than that of the US. If war broke out, China would suffer heavy losses, but it would be in a much better position to replace battlefield losses than the US, especially since the US's first instinct would be to try and buy more parts from China. Now again, to be complete, China's perpetual wartime footing might be part of why their economy is imploding. Still, the US desperately needs to ramp up production now and improve on its ability to maintain deterrence. The US is looking to drone swarms to deter China, but the US also needs more ships. As it stands, because of retirements, the US Navy will shrink before it grows. Now, there are some people who are downplaying the need for ships, especially aircraft carriers. In particular, those writing for the national interest frequently focus on how US Navy aircraft carriers could soon get blown out of the water by Chinese submarines, as well as drones and missiles. They conclude that aircraft carriers are vulnerable and that the age of big warships and aircraft carriers is over. According to these voices, the US should just focus on expanding its submarine fleet, unmanned drones, and hypersonic weapons. So stop building them. Cancel now while we still have the chance. You can probably tell that the national interest has a bit of a bias against aircraft carriers. What, were they bullied by one as a kid or something? But aircraft carriers probably are still useful. If they're useless, then why is China building more of them? Considering that China wants 6 by the mid-2030s, it seems like China sees a lot of use for them beyond just blockading Taiwan. I may have never said this in the entire history of the channel, but we should be following China's lead on this one. Ugh, I think I just threw up in my mouth a little. It's also not like US aircraft carriers are sitting ducks. Even with satellite and sensor technology, finding ships in the middle of the ocean is a lot harder than people make it out to be. I don't know if you've ever seen the ocean, but it's like super extra big or whatever. There are entire programs in place to deceive enemies about the exact location of American ships. Plus, there are emissions control measures to prevent missile seeker heads from being able to detect ships at sea. Aircraft carriers are still powerful tools of mobile force projection. If the US is expected to lose too, like these war games say, then it's all the more reason to build even more. Now, while it's good that the US is looking to big shipbuilding allies like South Korea and Japan to help, the US needs to do more to rebuild its ship manufacturing capabilities. Now, this may sound like warmongering, throwing money at something that could otherwise be spent on other things. But if the US doesn't get military deterrence right sooner rather than later, we're all going to pay far more the moment missiles start flying. And instead of clicking to the next video, head over to our new premium website at ChinaUncensored.tv. We have all sorts of awesome perks for our paying subscribers. And for all of you who contributed $15 or more last month to our Give, Send, Go fundraiser, we sent you an email with a discount code that covers your entire first month's premium subscription, or 10% off an annual plan. And for people who gave $50 or more, you've already gotten an email about your other rewards. More info is in the description below, so head over to ChinaUncensored.tv and become one of our first premium subscribers. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you on the other side.